boy Bouchard and Glover. Give me some volume on this mic right here. Testing, 1, 2. Hey, what up, America? It's your boy Bouchard and Glover. You just tuned into the BL Glover Show. Look like we about to do something a little different, man. Because this is a mass takeover. Because I'm working on the A Better Black America Daily Show. And we're dealing with politics. We're dealing with social and economic things. And on the Better Black America podcast, or daily, we seek solutions and resolutions to create a better America. So the B.O. Glover Show kind of got hijacked this Friday because we pressed for time because we got this election coming up. And in the city of Inglewood, starts voting tomorrow, so I got my ballots. I got everything that I need. I've never seen a show in my lifetime where they actually went over the propositions and things like that. So, God's people shall not perish due to the lack of knowledge. And welcome to the B.O. Glover Show. Can I get a hand clap for that? And I'll be paying attention to the chat too as well, because last week I had a couple of my boys in there and I didn't look up. That's why I'm kind of changing the angle right now. So the B.O. Glover Show, entertainment, sports, politics, and money. We're going to stick to the narrative, but we're going to kind of breeze through the entertainment, sports aspect of it so we can actually get to these politics, because where the world's going right now, I think the plantation doors are open, and I think we're ready to bounce, y'all. I don't see us signing on for another 400 years. Like the song say, we're greater than our limitations. We're greater than our limitations, y'all. And next week I'm gonna have the track. I'm finishing it up this weekend, so that's another way to raise some funds. Go on iTunes, a whole nine. But entertainment, sports, politics, and money is our thing. So the entertainment block. Go and turn it down a little bit. Now in the entertainment block, y'all, 50 cents. Last week it was Ice Cube with the Platinum Plan. This week is 50 cents. 50 Cent decided to endorse President Donald Trump. And I don't have a problem with him endorsing Donald Trump because I could clearly understand from his tax bracket. And he made a statement. That was a great statement. Did you hear that statement? He said, if I support the Democrats, I won't be 50 cents no more. I'll be 20 cents. And based on this tax bracket, you look at the state of California, we're talking about maximizing our taxes to up to 62% when it comes to payroll, meaning, the deductions, not the federal tax, not the state tax. You got the FICA, you got the, the different subtractions in terms of the welfare, Medicare, and all that good stuff. But we're going to figure this thing out. So 50 cents in the entertainment block. Last week it was Ice Cube with the Platinum Plan, the Black Contract, and we're trying to figure out what we're going to do as a people. Now, this election right here, this is the election of our lifetime, and I've watched the Democratic Party change their presidential campaign a few times. And I know without a shadow of a doubt that we're being monitored, because I was in Facebook jail this week. Give a hand clap for Facebook jail. Yeah, they put me in jail, y'all, so I really wasn't posting, but I screenshot the reason why they took me out, okay? And let me see if I can find that screenshot, because it was a post that I posted, and I was just basically being honest and transparent about us as blacks, not just voting blue no matter who, just because one thing we got to understand as people, the party of slavery is still the Democratic Party. And this election, like I said, millions and millions of people have already voted. Millions and millions of people have already voted. There's no way you can take it back. But I'm banking on the Inglewood opens up tomorrow, so leading into November 3rd, we're going to have to talk about these things, because there's a lot of propositions on the ballot. And driving into the studio, I saw a billboard. Maxine Waters, she fights for all of us, and I love Auntie Maxine. I love her so much. Even if she was my mama, I don't think I'll be supporting Maxine this election, only because I remember in 1996 when I was 1996 when I was actually 25 years old, and we was having our issues in South LA, and at the Crenshaw Christian Center. At the Crenshaw Christian Center, there was a town hall, and Maxine Waters, that's when I fell in love with her. Okay, and she said that we not bringing the cocaine into the community, kind of like Plymouth Rock landed on us, so to speak. And she was really understanding and outspoken about what's going on in the world today and what we need to do as a people. But then something happened, and what happened was, she started to get investigated. Her husband was audited, who was actually one of the heads of Broadway Federal. And I actually know her son, Coach Ed Waters, because Coach Ed Waters was an assistant coach at Central State when I was actually playing football for Central State. So I had intimate conversations with him, and I've actually met her on a few occasions. But moving forward, having a conversation with my mother, I told her, if we were going cross country, I don't care if it was, from here to New York, my mama, I love her. She ain't even 83, she's 69, almost 70. I wouldn't let her drive the car. Not because she can't drive, it's just because as her son, I trust, my judgment now. So I can't just sit back and rely on people to, try to control what we do. So when 50 Cent actually endorsed Donald Trump, strange things happened. There was what you call slave catchers. Now, if you really want to think about the world today and what happened post-Civil War. Now, when we go to college and when we study, and I liked when we started studying post-Civil War and Reconstruction era, because that's the era where, the history kind of get lost. Okay, because post-Civil War, there was not a black Democrat. There was no black Democrats. Because post-Civil War, the Democrats lost the Civil War, right? So after the Democrats lost the Civil War, there's 30 years of lost history. And this is where we're going to pick this thing up. Because after those 30 years of lost history, a lot of people, we don't know what happened. But what happened, Abraham Lincoln got assassinated. And when he got assassinated, he was not able to oversee the Reconstruction of the South. So instead of overseeing the Reconstruction of the South, changing the what you would call regime changing and nation building, pretty much allowed the Democratic Party to, kind of catch us off guard and erase us. And when I say erase us, after the Civil War, there was black Republican mayors, black Republican sheriffs. They were getting 40 acres in the mule. North and South Carolina had congressmen, senators. But that history, that 30 years of lost history, when Abraham Lincoln did not get the opportunity to oversee the Reconstruction, that right there is what's happening right now. Because if we stop the momentum that we have right now as a people, and I'm not saying, vote for Donald Trump or anything like that. I'm saying as a people, we got some momentum, because right now we are their good economic, and neither candidate could get away from either having a plan or justifying what you did to hurt the culture. But one strange thing when talking about I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the politics, the debate last night. One of the things that was actually trending is when Donald Trump said that he is the most non-racist person in the whole building. And I looked at that and I laughed and I thought about it, and I looked at Joe Biden. Joe Biden didn't take the bait. He said it again. I'm the least most racist in the room, and he looked at Joe Biden. Joe Biden didn't say nothing. Because if Joe Biden would have opened his mouth and said that he's not racist, then we all know that would have been a total lies. Because there's a big difference between racism and making bigoted, racist remarks. There's a big difference. Okay, racism is your due process. When I'm talking about due process, meaning I'm not going to hire you because you're black. Meaning I'm going to hang you on this tree because you're black. Meaning I'm going to shoot you unarmed because you're black. meaning I'm going to burn up your house, lynch you on the tree, and destroy your family because you black. That's racism. That's stopping your due process. When you make a statement, they're rat-infested cities. When you make a statement, that's racist. There's a big difference. So when I look at this man's policies, the man's policies beg to differ. And his policies beg to differ from the Democratic so much that I'm actually putting my name in as a write-in candidate. So this is why I'm here today. I am running as an independent because the Democratic Party did not deliver a candidate that the black race can support, because you got one side telling us to stay on the plantation, and you got another side that's left the plantation, and you got another side that's chasing down the ones who escape. Because it's crazy when you talk to men, and I had a conversation with a family member this morning and said some of these men sound like our mamas and grandmamas because they, for some reason, they cannot think outside the box. And like I like to tell people, we're gonna be invited to the party, or we're gonna crash the party. We're gonna be invited to the party, we're gonna crash the party. When I say invited to the party, Trump's got a platinum plan. So a lot of people talk about, they always say what they're gonna say, and they always don't do anything, but we're not our mothers and fathers Negroes or their grandparents, because if Trump talking about a platinum plan, if reelected, you don't think we're gonna show up in Washington and hold the Trump administration to their word, to a T, $500 billion into the community in terms of small businesses, Antifa and the KKK as domestic terrorism and federal lynching laws. And that's just one step. So for us to grow as a people, we got to understand what the system is and how the system was rigged. So when you talk about the framers of the country, and when you listen to our politicians, they talk about the framers, it seems like the framers framed us. And the framers really did frame us, because I'm studying the Constitution, because one day I would like to be called a constitutionalist, and slavery is not mentioned in the Constitution. It's not. So this is why it was hard not to abolish slavery, because it had nothing to stand on. And meaning it had nothing to stand on, it was not supposed to be a part of this new world. Now we understand, things happen, things, transpire where it was slavery all over the world. And one of my Christian friends, or one of my spiritual advisors, he basically said that was God's way of getting us all around the country, getting us all around the world. So now that he got us all around the world, and we in 2020, and we sitting here at a presidential election, and our choice is between light and darkness. Our choice is between two older white gentlemen. Our choice is between somebody that don't look like us, act like us, walk like us, or talk like us. But why is it only the Democratic side that says if you don't vote Democratic, that's a problem? I've never heard any coach, I never heard a Latino say that. I never heard a white person say that. But if you black and you don't vote Democrat, that's a problem. And it's a huge problem, because basically blacks, I hate to say it, the science of the Willie Lynch worked out to a T, believe it or not, because we suffer from what we call a mental transmitted disease called white supremacy. And it's kind of strange that post-Civil War, the Democratic Party created the Ku Klux Klan. So why is it that black Americans, black people in 2020 feel like that they have to do what the KKK did to black people just because they didn't want to be a part of the Democratic Party? And I got to set the record straight right here. And this is the truth. When they talk about people getting killed for voting, the truth is those people got killed because they voted Democratic in the South. And when it stopped, it was when John Lewis and those guys and Dr. King decided, you know what? We can't beat them, join them. So, can we sit at the table with you, sir? Can we go to your school, sir? Can we have what you have, sir? We'll be nonviolent. Okay. So they said, yeah. So they played us, and they added the gays, the L's and B's, GT's and Q's, immigrants, the whole nine. So this is why in 2020 it's okay for Black America just to have its own agenda, because every other culture has its own agenda. Now, if you drive on in Chinatown, Koreatown, there's some apartment buildings that's just going to have Chinese and Korean writing. Why? Because they don't want you applying. And there's some parts in East LA or some parts of LA where, you know, it's more Spanish people, and it'll say el renta. That's racist to me because they're saying we can't live there. So why is it wrong when the Black community, who is the only race in this country that went through slavery, that's on record for being here at the start of its democracy, August 20th, the year 1619, that's 400 years of equity. And then now, this is our moment, but for some strange reason, the House Negroes and some of the field Negroes do not want freedom. So if you don't want freedom, you know, you want a blanket, you want to be warm and cozy, and you want somebody to take care of you, that's fine. But this is the wild, wild west. Right now, free enterprise, ownership, investments. Okay, we got to buy the block. Okay, so we got to have a plan. And for us to have a plan, we got to be on the same sheet of music. So what I'm saying is, moving forward, no matter who wins this election, we're going to crash the party either way. Okay, we're going to be invited to the party, okay, or we're going to crash the party with our own narrative and our own agenda, because we got a case here, okay? There is 9 states, we read it off, I believe, on episode 1, where 9 states have already opened up the talks of reparations. In episode 2, we actually read off the reparations. So now we got to figure out, or basically talk and communicate and come up and be on the same sheet of music, because we can't move if we're not on this united front. So if you don't want to be a part of this, then, you know, it's pretty much get down to lay down at this point. If you've seen the movie State Property, because our survival trumps, no pun intended, your personal feelings and how you feel. Because the men that I talk to that opposes independence, the men that I talk to that have an issue with what we're doing as men, are typically introverts, and they're echoing the sentiments of their wives or girlfriends. Because some people, you know, it's beneficial to them to actually play that woman card. You know, we all been through, we call them dirty Macs. You know, the dirty Mac that, you know, the introvert, the ones that's in the stands, the ones that's spectating, got something negative to say about the ones they're spectating. So when that person comes around, it's a little awkward, because there's a precondition, because this introvert person, we call them, you know, haters, busters, marks, you know, already somehow, you know, put some salt in the brother's game. So what I'm saying is, to you, gentlemen, don't put no salt in our game. Let us live, let us breathe, because what I'm saying is, the gates of the plantation is wide open. You know, this is, you know, one of my favorite movies was the movie Life. And when Can't Get Right got his little baseball deal and he passed that gun line, he still was hesitant, slid over. So what I'm saying is, we free. So we're going to move forward with the Platinum Plan. We're going to move forward with the Black Contract. We're going to move forward with reparations, anything for blacks, by blacks, and we're going to have a coalition to talk about it. Now, another part of that entertainment, P. Diddy, Sean Puffy Combs, he's talking about a black, you know, or not a black organization in terms of just our particular politics, but in the same voice, he's saying, we got to get Trump up out of here. Okay. The reason he's saying that is because of his Revolt station, because of Sean John, because of his connections with liberal Hollywood, with the, you know, Jewish community, the record label, the record execs, the whole nine. So he's really looking out for himself. And LA Dodgers up 6-1. Hand clap for that. They'll go up 2-1. So this is why we have to really start having these conversations, because when Ice Cube or Sean Combs or Jay-Z or any black man that has the resources, they need to hear what's going on on the streets. Because in LA, like I said, I can't vote for Maxine, Auntie Maxine, because I'll be supporting Joe Collins III, a young Republican brother, come from the community, because the change that Obama talked about, we're going to use it as a verb. Okay, it's not going to be a noun. It's not going to be a thing. Okay, it's an action word. So when I talk about action, I'm talking about action. Okay, one of our main objectives, and just say, for instance, if I was a politician and I was able to respond as a alternative to Trump and Biden, what would you do for the black community? Well, one thing that needs to be done is we need to look at the systemic racist 13th Amendment. Okay, because the 13th Amendment supposedly freed the slaves, but it was a catch. It said, except if you commit a crime. So just imagine the millions of people that, post-Civil War that was stuck in the South, just committing crimes just for wandering around, having nowhere to go. Because black America rebuilt the South on free labor, and we need checks with interest as well. But my whole entire point is we have to go back and start to understand what the framers' mindset was, not what the interpretation was. We have the data. Political science is a science, and science is ongoing. So now in 2020, we got more science and more data where we can actually change the narrative. So when I say amend the 13th Amendment, there is neither slavery or involuntary servitude, period. That's where it should be. But there's a clause, except if you commit a crime. Now, who decides if you commit a crime or not? Who writes the laws, okay? And like I said, the 94 crime bill has been one of the major topics when it comes to the presidential election. And a lot of people don't understand why Joe Biden can't get a pass on this 94 crime bill, but you got to understand it was a setup. Because if you get struck out for 3 little crack rocks that's probably $5 each, $5, $10, $15, and you striking out, and you got an ounce of powder cocaine, which is probably, I don't know the price, it's probably about $100, $200, and you walking. That's racist. And they created the laws after the crack epidemic. So if you was an addict, you went to prison. So just like the opioid epidemic, right now there's, I think it's one of the, Purdue Pharma actually lost the lawsuit because of the Oxycontin, which is pretty much heroin. And the people that was addicted to that, they didn't get locked up. They pretty much got treatment, but because we learn and we understand. So now that we've been sacrificial lambs for the man, we got to make sacrifices ourselves and control our own destiny. Because why do we have to sit back and argue and talk and have discussions about people that don't look like us, don't act like us, don't walk like us, talk like us, and not even where we're from? Because I'm tired of debating white women. White men don't talk too much about it. Black alpha males don't talk too much about it. But we know those minions, the mob, the modern day slave catchers, I'll call them bootlegging trustees. Those are the ones we got to worry about. And like I said, those are the ones that's going to start getting chin checked, because let us breathe, bruh. Because at the end of the day, it's beneficial to you, for you to be on that side of the aisle, but it's not beneficial for me because Massa don't want me nowhere around, because I intimidate Massa. See, but he love you because you're not intimidating at all. You do any and everything that Massa say. So I got the presidential ballot right here. Now with this presidential ballot, and I'm gonna say this again, why is it that black people are the only people that for some reason feel like they got to vote Democratic? That's not true. So just imagine if we decided to not be baked into the Democratic Party. And when I say decided to not be baked into the Democratic Party, I'm saying if we were chocolate chip cookies, Democratic Party's chocolate chip cookies. The chocolate chips cookies are the most notable tasting chocolate chip cookies known to mankind. We make billions of dollars with these chocolate chip cookies, but we get the chocolate chips for free. Now wrap your mind around that. We get the chocolate chips for free. So in 2020, what I'm saying is, since the chocolate chip is the cookie, let's hold our chocolate chips ransom. And if they want to continue to make chocolate chip cookies, we'll sell them to them, not just bake them in. Because what I'm trying to get you to understand, we have over 400 years of equity in this nation, and that's something that we got to understand. We're not finna get at up. 400 years of equity? 400 years of equity, y'all want to get at up? Okay, so the presidential election. I've looked at 3 or 4 different ballots, and they all different, okay? And for some strange reason, there's no chronological order that Donald Trump and Mike Pence is at the top, okay? And Joe Biden and Kamala Harris is at the bottom. So obviously, we got the Republican, Donald J. Trump for president, with Michael R. Pence as vice president, Republican ticket. And then we got Gloria La Rivera and Sunil Freeman for president, and this is for the Peace and Freedom Party. So if you are a member of the Peace and Freedom Party, are you being harassed to vote for Donald Trump? You know, if you're from the Peace and Freedom Party, are the slave catchers chasing you? No, they not, because it's only a black thing, and only the ones who suffer from post-traumatic slave disorder or syndrome are the ones that somehow feel like that they got to chase down their brother man because he disagreed with you and your woman or you and your mama. Because that's pretty much what it comes from. And at the end of the day, there comes a time where the man got to stand up. You know, can't just follow behind mama. Because mama and them, they got through what they got through. You know, so for us to create some change, we're going to have to really get involved. Now, for the president for the Independent Party, check this out. Rocky De La Fuente for president, and the vice presidential candidate is Kanye Amari West. So Kanye West is on the ticket as the vice president in the American Independent Party. So not sure what that's all about, but I'm not going to hate on the people that's actually down with the American Independent Party. And the American Independent Party is not an independent party. A true independent is registered as a non-partisan, a no political party preference, and is actually on the ballot. So you have no party affiliation. So the American Independent Party is a political party. Now the next one is the Green Party. Howie Hawkins. Howie Hawkins for president, and Angela Nicole Walker as vice president, and she's a sister. So Kamala Harris is not the only black woman running for president as a sister. Kanye West run for president as a brother. So it's pretty, you know, we starting to get a little normalcy here when it comes to our presidential election, because 2024. We already hit, ahead of the game, because we're not finna sit back and wait on this election here and just, be sad if Biden win or be mad if Trump win. Because when they talk about, race wars and all that, like I said, we city boys. Sometimes you're too early, sometimes you're too late. But for you ones in South and rural areas, man, I really can't comment on that. But in the city, man, it's none of this stuff is going on. Ain't nobody coming to the community because we have to clear up and fix our community. All right. So for the next, let me see here, Libertarian Party is next. And the Libertarian candidate is Joe Jorgensen for president. Vice President Jeremy Spike Cohen. Jeremy Spike Cohen for vice president. That's the Libertarian Party. Joe Jorgensen, which is a female. And she was actually on Fox News this morning. She wanted to go to the debate. Because usually they'll have a third party person there, because I voted for the Libertarian Party last election, did not vote for Trump, and it was Gary Johnson. Okay, and then the Democratic ticket, Joseph R. Biden for president and Kamala D. Harris for vice president. Now, I just read off 6 parties that's on the ballot, and there's over 300 registered write-in candidates. Okay, now I'm putting my name in the hat right now as well as a write-in candidate, only because if you cannot pull the trigger on the party of slavery, which is the Democratic Party, or the Republican Party, which represents the party of freedom, if you don't want to be guilty by association, it's a write-in right here. It's a write-in right there. So I will be writing my name in, Bouchon L. Glover, as president. So when 10, 20 years from now, when they sit back and say, man, what was you doing back in 2020? Who did you vote for? Hey, I voted for a black man, which is voting for freedom. And I know some people who they're going to vote down ballot. They cannot, they don't want to be guilty by association. Some parishioners are writing in their Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Because a lot of y'all don't understand, in Atlanta, these nuts got more votes than, if you could Google that, these nuts in the last election in one of the states, they actually, got some momentum, like 3%. DEEZ nuts. I think they got 3% in one of the states. So my engineer's looking that up right now. But that write-in. So that's why I'm looking politician today. That's why I'm looking political, because when you talk about what you're going to do, when I look at Joe Biden, it's hard to look past what I see. Okay. You can't convince a man to vote for you just because you're running against a virus and against his personality. Okay, go ahead. I think these nuts. What's up?
Okay, in North Carolina.
He
got 9%.
So in North Carolina, these nuts got 9%. Okay, it's not a cuss word. Okay, nuts is peanuts and these is a play on these. So these nuts got 9%. So, come on now, it's official. I'm a write-in. I'm trying to get 10% in California. If we could get 10% in California, man, we could be free. Okay, because California as a whole, this is not, like I said, this state is so deep dark blue, it really doesn't matter. But what I'm saying is, if you don't want to be guilty by association for voting for the party of slavery, and the reason I say it's a party of slavery, because it's non-debatable. It's non-debatable, okay? And we need to stop debating facts and knowledge. We need to stop debating facts and knowledge, because as a man, I grew up in that era where it was all about, he got knowledge. But right now, it's time to apply that knowledge. So we were just talking. We were just selling wolf tickets. Because like I said, I'm all money in on the change for Black America. And like I said, A Better Black America Daily hijacked the Bill Glover show today because, hey, it's the spinoff. It was supposed to be the other way around, but the Bill Glover show came first. So we're looking to be, the A Better Black America Daily. We're going to start probably mid-December, and it's going to be a daily show, and the whole premise is where we seek solutions and resolutions to create a better America. Now, don't be afraid of the word black. Black, okay? Black is an acronym for Black, Latin, Asian, Caucasian, Kinsman. Black is an acronym for Black, Latin, Asian, Caucasian, Kinsman, because if we create a better place for Black America, then that's a better America for all. We just drive in the train, because we're not going to sit back and just ride in the car and just let you guys drive us, to hell, because the party of slavery is dark. Okay, when I say dark, meaning it seems like these two people were selected, and running as a presidential candidate as a write-in, I'm asking for your vote. Not to give it to Trump. I'm asking for your vote because I have a right to talk about this ticket, and we call it the Willie Lynch ticket. And just like Donald Trump said, Joe Biden is the reason he's running, Joe Biden is the reason I'm running, because I have to represent my generation, and I have to let you know how terrible the community was at the time pre, 94 crime bill and post. And I'm gonna be real quick with it because I want to check out some of the propositions. Now, pre 94 crime bill, man, it was bad. I mean, when I say bad, it was bad. They let it get out of control. When I say they let it get out of control, it was so out of control that, New Jack City kind of was based on a true story, but it really wasn't far from true stories all over this country. Okay? So, 94 crime bill, they put these laws in play, did what they did. That bill passed in the House 101 to 0. The vice president at that time usually is the deciding factor. He voted for the bill. I know my mom and them voted for the bill. I know my grandmama and them voted for the bill because what? They gonna do what the man tell them to do because they really did not know what was gonna happen. But after that happened, people like me, you know, athlete, regular person, just living in LA, they threw just such a blanket, you know, on this situation, meaning they caught all of us up. And if it wasn't for the grace of God, you know, me being, you know, at least locally known a little bit because of a name recognition, you know, because of athletics, you know, I was able to survive. But I know so many people that got caught up that was good dudes, straight A students, went away to college that did so much, but for some strange reason, death or jail. And then now in 2020, the bill clearly was one of the worst bills that could ever be written into law. Bill Clinton himself said it was a mistake, it went too far. Hillary Clinton said it herself, it went too far. And then Joe Biden, he says that he didn't call us super predators. That's a lie, bruh. I watched you sell the bill, and these are super predators, and before they hurt my son and rape your wife, they need to be in jail. Yeah, you sold the bill. You called us super predators. So when they asked you last night on the super predator comment, and you said you never said that, that's a lie. So for man to man, if you're gonna sit back and lie into our face, there has to be a reaction, okay? Because every action deserves a reaction, and that's, come on now. And then when President Donald Trump, and I wish I was there in the debate, when he says he's the most least racist person in the room and Joe Biden goes mute, that should have been an opportunity for Joe Biden to say, that's a lie, but based on policy over personality, Donald Trump don't have no policies on the book that's stopping the due process of anybody. He basically widening the road for us. He told us what we didn't have nothing to lose. Like I said, this is why my name is in the hat this year. Because like I said, I can't pull the trigger. I don't want to be guilty by association. Just say, for instance, if I voted for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and how the Democrats allow their cities to kind of come down, and then somehow they, you know, run that, you know, mass incarceration thing again. We did that. So what I'm saying is we can't be guilty by association. We cannot be guilty by association. And looking at the big picture, we gotta curve the crime. And the only way we can curve the crime is if we put our hand in making the change. And when I talk about amending the 13th Amendment, taking off the criminalization clause. So if we get the criminalization clause removed, then therefore we can socially and economically impact our communities. Meaning, if it's the 13th Amendment is amended, and this is one of our number one call to actions, and we take the criminalization clause, meaning you commit a crime doesn't mean you're a slave, basically changes the industrial prison complex, meaning the profit prisons. Just imagine if we could get the 13th Amendment changed, okay, as your president, if elected, I will fight for you to get the 13th Amendment changed, and I will fight for legislation to get tax breaks and mandates to those companies and those corporations that's making millions and millions of dollars in these private prisons, to put them in communities of color and guarantee jobs at a $15 minimum wage for people in the community. Plus, we could start infrastructure, meaning credit unions, you know, housing, things of that nature. So what I'm saying is, what we're looking at is an illusion of something that wants to continue. Because like I said, if we had a presidential candidate that spoke to our hearts, and not spoke at us, you know, not some old, angry, racist white man, but looked us in our eyes and basically said, you know what, you know, we realize, you know, what happened. We realize things that's not right. So therefore, it's our due diligence to create that change. So give me a hand clap on that 13th Amendment, because that's one of the ones we're going to fight for. And if we can get that 13th Amendment amended as president, you know, then we can actually get jobs into the community. And like I said, we're going to give them all the tax breaks, because if they hire the community in terms of tens of thousands of employees, they don't have to pay no taxes, at least for 10 years, okay? At least for 10 years. So, like I said, time flies when you're having fun. So, the BL Glover Show, Friday nights, 7 p.m. every Friday. The A Better Black America Daily, we're going to be launching in a few weeks, and we're going to be on every day. So I'm going to go read a few propositions in terms of the time allows. Okay, ones that make sense on a national scale. So I'm going to go ahead and read this one right here. Now in California, they got Measure J. Now Measure J is community investments and alternatives to incarceration minimum county budget allocations. Shall the measure annually allocating in the county's budget no less than 10% of the county's locally generated unrestricted revenues in the general fund to address the disproportionate impact of racial injustice through community investment and alternatives to incarceration, and prohibiting using those funds to systems and law enforcement agencies as detailed in the ordinance adopting and proposed chapter amended must be adopted. So if I'm reading this correctly, Measure J, I'm going to give a yes on Measure J because I believe that's a part of the police reform. And when you look at the climate and when you look at wording, clearly they're trying to give us an illusion right here. Because democratically, the Democrats, they're not supporting police reform. But Measure J reads and appears to be police reform, because they're curving incarceration for jobs and training. So that's Measure J. So I'm going to go ahead and give a yes on J. Give me a hand clap for yes on J. And then let me see here. Let me go ahead and just read them off. I got y'all. Let's go ahead and do this. Yeah, because knowledge is power, and God's people shall not perish due to the lack of knowledge. All right. So State Measure 14. Authorizes bonds continuing stem cell research initiative. That sounds a little weird. Okay, authorizes 5.5 billion state bonds for stem cell and other medical research, including training, research facility construction, administrative costs. Dedicates 1.5 billion to brain-related diseases. Appropriates general fund monies for repayment. Expands related programs. Fiscal impact increases state costs to repay bonds estimated at about $260 million per year over the next roughly 30 years. Hey man, you got a boo over there? Anything that go boo? We going no on 14. We going no on 14. Nah. 260 million? Boo, exactly. Thank you. All right, thank you. So let me see here. Okay, State Measure 15, yes or no? Increase funding sources for public schools, community colleges, and local government services by changing tax assessment of commercial and industrial property initiative constitutional amendment. Okay. Taxes such properties based on current market value instead of purchase price. I'm going to read that again. Taxes such properties based on current market value instead of purchase price. No. Just that alone is a no. Because listen to this. Taxes such properties based on current market value. So if you got equity, they taxing you on the current market price instead of the equity that you built. See, that's scandalous. And this is why we as people, for the first time in my life, we're talking about these things. Now, the physical impact increases property tax. There it is. Increases property taxes on commercial properties worth more than $3 million, providing $6.5 billion to $11.5 billion in new funding to local governments and schools. Okay. Now, commercial property could be a 6-unit. So pretty much this is, we know on 15 because they're pretty much going to add to property taxes. So you guys paying your property taxes, you got your homes and your little businesses and you are mom and pop. No, because one thing we know the Democrats won't, okay, and as an independent presidential candidate, Write-In, I could say that, they want more taxes. And in the state of California, they talking about 62%. That's too much. When you talk about 62%, so you talking about $1 million, you paying 62% on $1 million. You're not a millionaire. You're not a millionaire. You're not a millionaire. So let me see here. That was 16. That was 15. So that's a big no. Okay, that's a big no. I'm looking at the time. We good. That's a big no. All right. Now 16. Okay. Okay. Let me find the ones that's making sense. Because a couple of them are. Okay, now I'm gonna skip to 18 because I'm not sure about 16 and 17. Now 18 amends California Constitution to permit 17-year-olds to vote in the primary and select in special elections if they will turn 18 by the next general election and be otherwise eligible to vote. This legislation, constitutional amendment, fiscal impact increases statewide county costs likely between hundreds of thousands of dollars and 1 million every 2 years. Increase one-time costs of the state net. Okay, no on 18. We do not want no more taxes, and 17-year-olds, they don't even. I could care less. If you're just gonna have to wait. Okay, I'm voting no on that. All right, let me see here. I'm cherry picking right now. Okay, 19. I'm gonna go ahead and just get through them. So 19, state measure 19, yes or no? Changes certain property tax rules, legislative, constitutional amendment. Allows homeowners who are 55, disabled, or wildfire/disaster victims to transfer primary residence tax base to replacement residence. Changes taxation of family properties transfers. Establishes fire protection services funds. Fiscal impact, local governments could gain tens of millions on property tax revenue. Stop right there. State measure 19, that's a big no on that as well, because basically they trying to heighten property tax. So how can we live in a society that's supposed to be for the people when they're trying to take everything from the people? This is why we got to understand Democrat versus Republican. We're independent, and I would love your write-in vote, but Republicans want less tax, less government. The Democrats want more taxes, more control. Because look at the two candidates that they gave us, and they told us to vote for them. And if we don't, they're going to send their slave-catching minions to attack us. And like I said, y'all about to get chin checked. So you see me say something. Real talk. Real talk. Okay. Now, let me see here. Measure 20. Restricts restricts parole for certain offenses currently considered to be nonviolent. Authorizes felony sentences for certain offenses currently treated only as misdemeanors. Okay. I'm a pretty smart guy. I'm going to read this again. It restricts parole for certain offenses currently considered to be nonviolent. So it's restricting parole for people that have committed a crime, a nonviolent crime. So it's restricting their parole. Those should be the first ones paroled, right? Okay, I'm going to read it again. Restricts parole for certain offenses currently considered to be nonviolent. Authorizes felony sentences for certain offenses currently treated only as misdemeanors. So basically, no, because measure 20 is basically authorizing the state to charge nonviolent misdemeanors as felonies for certain offenses currently treated only as misdemeanors. So they're basically changing misdemeanors to felony. Why? Because they get money for having people in prison. And see, this is what we gotta, understand. So I'm gonna go ahead and read the statute. Now, it limits access to parole programs established for nonviolent offenders who have completed the full term of their primary offense by eliminating eligibility for certain offenses. So if you in jail for a misdemeanor nonviolent, measure 20 basically reads that it can actually change that to a felony to keep you locked up. Okay, and the physical impact increases state and local corrections, court, and law enforcement costs, likely in the tens of millions of dollars annually. That's a big no. So no on measure 20. And no on measure 20. We're going to stop on 21 and we're going to pick it up next week. So if you're voting tomorrow, I'm going to go ahead and skip to 22 because we need to vote yes on 22. Now, 22 is exempts app-based transportation, and delivery companies from providing employee benefits to certain drivers. Okay. Now, classified app-based drivers as independent contractors instead of employees and provides independent contractor drivers with compensation unless certain criteria are met. Physical impact, minor increase in state income taxes by rideshare and delivery company drivers and investors. So yes on 22 because it is as an independent contractor, that's your right. You should be able to, be free and to jump in the car and go make you some money without being taxed on it. So we're learning. So as independents, as nonpartisans, we got to understand the parties. The party of slavery, the party of Jim Crow, the party of mass incarceration wants to control and wants to tax you. Okay? So, and just while I'm saying that, I'm thinking, and I understand why Joe Biden didn't respond to the president saying that he wasn't more racist than Donald Trump, because he didn't want to talk about Antifa and go into all of that. So, but like I said, a big yes on 22. Now, I'm just going to be the last one. And this is for, I'm sure all of us have seen those commercials in terms of the dialysis centers. Now, 23, State Measure 23, yes or no, establishes state requirements for kidney dialysis clinics to require on-site medical professional. Okay. Now, requires physician, nurse practitioner, or physician assistant as on site during dialysis treatment. Okay, I can imagine they're on site. Anyway, now prohibits clinics from reducing services without state approval. Okay, prohibits clinics from refusing to treat patients based on payment source. Physical impact, increased state and local costs, likely in the low tens of millions of dollars annually. But the loophole for me is it prohibits clinics from refusing to treat patients based on payment source. Because if you sick and you need to see your dialysis or all of that or go to the dialysis, you should be able to get treatment. But this was a hijack. I know you turned into for the BL Glover show, but we had to jump in and do the Better Black America daily, because politics is our thing, and we're gonna be all right. So with that being said, man, go ahead and follow me on Instagram. That's Bouchon Glover. I got the hashtag. You can follow me on 6019 Clothing. We got merch. We starting to drop that. You can listen to the BL Glover show on all the streaming services. Just Google it. I did it today, and I was actually impressed. I Googled it everywhere. Listen on iHeart, Spreaker, Sound. I listen to it on all different outlets. So that's a beautiful thing that Mr. Nash got going on over here. And a Better Black America TV on YouTube. So we're going to get on up out of here. I'm the politician today. I need your vote. I want your vote. Okay. And we'll be back next week. But go ahead and turn it up, man. And I'm going to go ahead and hit a verse with my limitation. Was that a 5 or 9? Is it 5? Okay. Yeah. I'm going to have a song next week. We're greater than our limitations. They say we can't do what they head turn. Faith is what we need. Not a lot, just a little bit more than the mustard seed. We're greater than our limitations. They say we can't do what they head turn. Faith is what we need. Not a lot, just a little bit more than the mustard seed. Someone can move a molehill. 2 can move a mountain. 1 can move 10, 2 can move 10,000. They owe us reparations for slavery in this nation. We got to stand up. God promised us He'll never leave or forsake us. We're greater than our limitations. They say we can't do what they head turn. Hey, so that's it, man. The BL Glover show got hijacked by Bouchon Glover, presidential candidate. Independent, nonpartisan independent. Y'all be cool, man. See y'all next time. Better Black America TV on YouTube, acceleratedRadio.net, and you can find the Bill Glover Show on all your streaming services. Peace out.